It's that time of year, time for turkey. And today out on the pit barrel cooker, I'm going to be smoking up not a whole turkey, but turkey pieces. Yes, sometimes you don't have a whole turkey. Maybe you can only get leg quarters or you can get a breast section. You can cook those up just as easily. And what I'm working with today are a whole breast section and 2 leg quarters. The breast section weighs about 6 pounds. The leg quarters, I'm not sure, but they're good size. This didn't come from a huge turkey, but it came from a good size medium turkey. Now I'm going to be using 2 different rubs today, one on the breast section and a different one on the leg quarters. What I'm going to be using on the breast section here is Carolina pit powder from Stephen Reichlin. I really like this, a little bit of a smoky flavor to it. I think it's going to go great with this turkey breast. So we're going to give a good coating here. Not adding any binders or anything like that. I actually want to start with the skin as dry as possible. Helps avoid that rubberiness. And it is a little difficult when you're smoking, turkey, poultry to get crispy skin when you're not going at super high temperatures, but you can avoid the rubbery skin. And it really does help by starting out with drier skin. Turn this over, get the inside here. And if you want to, you can pull back the skin, get some of the rub under, directly on the meat. I personally don't like to do that to separate the skin there. I find that then it gets really loose and it just has a tendency, especially in large pieces, to just sort of slide off. All right, our breast section is done. Let's get these leg quarters rubbed up. So I'm just gonna kind of have these guys switch places here. I don't mind if a little bit of the rub gets on each other piece, doesn't really matter. For the leg quarters, I'm going with a prototype rub from my friend Scott over at The Real Show Barbecue. I'll put a link to his channel down in the video description and up here. He develops sauces and rubs, and he had this sent to me to try out, and I figured, hey, I'm gonna try it on some turkey now. I've used it on some pork, some beef, really good. So let's see. Once again, really good coating here. We're going to be using some applewood for smoke today. As you can see the pronounced difference in color between the 2 different rubs. Now on these you could use any rub you want. If you have a favorite rub, go for it. You want to make your own, go for it. I do that all the time. I just decided to use these rubs today because I had them and I wanted to give them a shot on some turkey. All right, that's looking good. Let's go ahead and get our hooks in these turkey pieces because we are going to be hanging them today on the pit barrel cooker. So right here, I'm just going to find sort of the joint between the thigh and the leg. Go through there, come out the front. Right about there. Come out the front. For the breast, I'm actually going to put 2 hooks in. Now I always like to give a little bit more rub at the end there after you put the hooks in, just in case any's fallen off. We lost a little bit, but that's all right. Same thing on the legs. All right, these are looking good. Let's get them out to the pit barrel cooker. So we're going to be cooking our turkey today to an internal temperature of 165 degrees. That's pretty standard. The pit barrel cooker generally runs between 275 and 300 degrees. That's when it's set for your proper elevation. As I mentioned, I'm using applewood for smoke today, and I'm just going to let this ride. I don't even have any plans to sauce it on there. I may sauce it inside after we're done, but I'm just gonna let it go. We'll come back in a while and check it, but for now, it's just gonna smoke. All right, we've been going about an hour and a half, and our turkey's at 143 internal, and I changed my mind. I'm gonna glaze these pieces. They're looking good. So I'm just gonna try and do this delicately here. Now the glaze I'm using is a mixture of 4 tablespoons of honey, 2 tablespoons of a sweet Thai chili sauce, and 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. I'm not looking to get it very, very soupy. Just going to get a little glaze on here. Get this back on now. All right, we're gonna get our lid back on, let these finish smoking to 165 internal. All right, we are right there at 165. Time to check these turkey pieces. Just a fantastic color on there. I'm confident with the breast temperature. I just want to give a quick double check on the turkey thighs. Okay, that's showing in the 180s, so this turkey thigh is done. They're all done. All right, we're gonna get these inside, let them rest for about 20 minutes, and then we're gonna have a taste. All right, here are our finished smoked turkey pieces. I really am glad I decided to add that glaze. I know it's gonna give a little bit of flavor, but it really does also just give a nice sort of glistening finish to the turkey pieces. It was only on there for about 20 degrees or so, which was probably about half an hour. Plenty of time to help develop it and help it set, but this is looking really good. Let's cut into it. I'm gonna set one thigh aside. I'm gonna cut some thigh meat first. I've said it many times. The thigh meat's my favorite on chicken, turkey. Let's see, and I'm just gonna go right over here first. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. That is looking good. Oh, let's get down in here. Get some of that really nice dark meat. That is gonna be good to taste, but now let's cut some breast meat. I'm just gonna go straight here. Oh yes, that is looking good. We've got nice juicy breast meat there. Now I didn't brine this turkey or inject it. It was a little bit more of a, not high-end turkey, but I paid a little bit more per pound for this. So generally in that, you're not gonna get the birds that have been, filled with a brine solution at the factory. It's allowed it to develop its own natural juiciness here. We didn't overcook it, hit it just right on the perfect temperature, and it's looking really good. The other thing I like is that as I was cutting these pieces here, you can see the skin stayed with it. Now the skin would pull off easily, but that's what I've found. If you go under the skin and break that contact and rub a lot of stuff on the meat, you can do that and you'll get more flavor on the meat most of the time. But turkey has such great flavor in itself. If you get that flavor on the skin and if you can maintain that adhesion between the skin and the turkey meat below, you're gonna get great flavor all around. I've got all the pieces cut that I need. It's time to taste. So I'm gonna go for a taste of the breast meat first. I've said that the thigh meat is my favorite, so I wanna save that for last. Now this has that Carolina pit powder rub on it from Stephen Reichland, so I'm curious to see how that works with sort of that sweet heat of the glaze we put on. Oh yes. Just tasting the breast meat and the skin with that, I would use that rub and glaze combination on a whole turkey. It's fantastic. A lot of juice, very tender. The reason I put my temperature probe in the breast meat, and I could have run a second one to the thighs, but generally I find when the breast meat is getting to that 165, the thighs may be a little bit above that, 175, 180, but they can tolerate that. There's a lot more fat in those leg quarters with the legs and thighs connected. So when you hit the breast meat right in that 165 range, I know some people like it a little less, 160, some like it a little more, 170, 175. I really do like that 165 range for the breast meat. It turns out like this and I love this. Now a nice piece of that dark thigh meat. I can definitely taste the difference in flavor, 2 different rubs. I really like this rub on turkey. It's the first time I've used it on turkey. And Scott, if you're watching this, I think you're on the right track with this rub. It's really good. It has that sort of really nice all-around flavor. I've used it on beef and pork and now on turkey. I don't think I've used it on chicken yet, but if it's working well on turkey, it's going to work well on chicken. Good flavor, pairs well with that glaze, and it's perfect on the thigh meat with that kind of bolder flavor from the fatty meat. I really like this. Total cook time on this turkey was almost exactly 2 hours. If it had been a whole turkey, we might have gone about a half an hour more on the pit barrel, maybe an hour, depending on how big the bird was. I've done whole turkeys on there before, and they turn out great. Doing pieces, if that's what you can get, turns out just as good. So if you've got turkey pieces and you don't have a whole turkey, you can go ahead and grill them up, whether it's on the kettle, the pit barrel cooker, an offset smoker, or your gas grill. Give it a good rub, give it time to get to that proper temperature, maybe glaze it if you want to, and you're gonna have a terrific bird.